And is that the only book you've written, or have you written more than one book?
I've only written one book.
What was the book about?
The book was about human trafficking and about the vulnerabilities that lead to trafficking, the problems when it occurs, and basically how to recover from it after.
Where was the book set?
It was set in a fictional town.
What was the name of the fictional town?
Hiawassee Springs.
So Hiawassee. Is it located in the panhandle of Florida?
No, I used to see the name when I was driving from Tallahassee to Orlando, so it's somewhere in between.
And was the place modeled after Tallahassee?
It was definitely somewhere in Florida, but not supposed to be about Tallahassee, no.
Who was the central character in that book?
So there's three central characters. One was one of my clients, kind of a composite character from Eastern Europe. One was kind of a composite character of many clients I represented from Latin America, and one was a public interest lawyer.
And was the public interest lawyer Lily?
Yes.
And is that the character that was sort of based after yourself?
No, really more based after a friend of mine.
And was Hiawassee, Florida, quote, just a small stop on the way back to what we had previously known as civilization? Is that a quote from your book?
That sounds like a quote from my book, yeah.
And who's the husband of Lily, the public interest lawyer?
You want his name in the book?
Yes.
I think it was Josh Stone.
All right, and what was Josh's employment?
Josh was an English professor.
I'm sorry, what was your answer?
Josh was an English professor.
A professor, where did he teach?
It's been a while. I wrote the book over 10 years ago. I don't remember what I named the university in the
North Florida State University.
That sounds right.
NFSU.
What if I told you that 5 people are now behind bars for a brutal execution-style slaying, yet the one person who stood to gain everything from that death walks free? What if I told you that a Harvard-educated law professor was hunted down and shot twice in the head in his own driveway, while his ex-wife had an alibi so perfectly timed it seemed almost rehearsed? And what if I told you that the deeper investigators dig, the more evidence surfaces pointing to one woman at the center of it all, yet she remains untouched by the law? This is the story of Dan Markel, a brilliant legal scholar, a devoted father, and a man whose only crime was refusing to let his children be taken away from him. But this is also the story of Wendi Adelson, a woman who has testified at every trial, claimed complete innocence, and watched as her mother, brother, and 3 others were convicted of orchestrating her ex-husband's elimination. The question that haunts everyone who follows this case is simple yet devastating. How is she still free? Before we go any further, I need you to do something. If you're captivated by cases where the truth hides in plain sight, where justice moves at an agonizing pace, and where every detail matters, then Dark Trail Files is your destination. We don't just tell true crime stories. We investigate them. We question them. We follow the evidence wherever it leads, no matter how powerful the people involved. Hit that subscribe button right now, because this channel dives deeper than anywhere else. We examine the cases that make you question everything you thought you knew about justice. And trust me, after hearing what I'm about to tell you about Wendi Adelson, you'll want to follow every update on this channel. Now, let's uncover the truth.
NFSU sounds right, yeah.
All right, and in the book, does Lily lament, quote, "We moved to this godforsaken place for Josh's career"?
Yes, that sounds like a line Lily would say.
All right. When you looked at page 187 of the divorce document on cross, and I'll hand that back to you. This is actually my copy. Just turn back to 187. Do you see the quote that you read previously from that page?
I don't.
Okay. It had to do with, let's see if I can find it, that you were very unhappy in the marriage. I think it's the third paragraph there.
I see that line.
Okay, the wife has been very unhappy in the marriage and files her petition for dissolution of marriage in August 2012. The husband continues to characterize this as abandonment, and then it goes on to say that he had been disparaging you to some of the folks at the law school. Do you remember reading that?
I do.
Was that intended to be the place in this binder where you allege emotional abuse by your husband?
I mean, I think it's emotionally abusive to suggest somebody has mental health issues.
Okay. What is the Prof's blog? You were asked about that on Cross.
Yeah, it was a blog that Danny started with some of his colleagues to kind of promote community in the law professor world.
And who reads the Prof's?
Probably
Prof's blog?
other law professors and people interested in becoming law professors.
Who is on the Crim Prof listserv?
I don't know.
Were you on the listserv for that Prof's blog?
I may have been on the listserv at some point.
Do you remember seeing the post that you were shown on Cross?
I do.
And the post says something about Danny and I are planning to attend a conference that will begin Sunday, July 20th. Is there any other information on what you were shown about Dan's travel plans post-murder other than that?
I'm sorry, can you please repeat the question?
The post says Danny and I guess it's another professor writing this thing. Danny and I are planning to attend a conference that will begin Sunday, July 20th. Is that the type of information that he would typically have on something like the Prof's blog or Facebook?
That sounds right.
Okay, but as far as the date he's leaving, the flight he's on, that kind of stuff, would that typically be on the Prof's blog?
He wouldn't put what flight number he was on, but he would almost always communicate when he was going on a trip.
Okay, so going to a conference that starts July 20th might be an example.
Flying to New York tomorrow would be an example.
Okay. But
not,
he didn't
not
put
a flight number.
But he didn't put flying to New York tomorrow on this occasion.
No.
You were referenced several times, not on direct examination by the state, but by your brother's attorney on Cross as a co-conspirator. Are you charged in this case?
No.
This isn't your trial, is it?
No.
Is your brother charged with conspiring with you to do a murder?
No.
Is he charged with conspiring with you to plan a murder?
No.
Is he charged with soliciting you to do a murder?
No.
Who is he charged with doing those things with?
I don't think anyone.
Have you had an opportunity to review his indictment in this case?
I have not.
I'll give you an opportunity to take a look at that document to yourself. Who is your brother alleged to have done these crimes with?
Catherine D. Magbanowa.
Were you on the wire in this case, Ms. Adelson?
No.
So when the bump happened, are you familiar with the event I'm referencing as the bump?
I am now.
When law enforcement approached your mother on the street and handed her a piece of paper?
Yes.
Okay, when that occurred, who did your mother call?
I don't know.
Not you, right?
Not me.
Okay. And once your brother found out about the bump, did he call you about it?
No.
Who did he call?
I don't know.
Well, you listened to the calls to authenticate the voices, didn't you?
Just to hear the voices, not to hear the content of the calls.
Okay. And the voices were your brother's voice, right?
But I listened to the calls just to hear who was on them, so I don't know what content they're referencing.
I heard your answer. My question to you now is, your brother's voice was on the calls.
He was on some of the calls I listened to.
Your mother's voice was on the calls.
She was on some of the calls I listened to.
Did you have any secret meetings with your brother post bump that happened in South Florida?
No.
You were asked about Jeffrey Lacasse and the way that your relationship ended. What is OkCupid?
OkCupid is a dating website.
Were you on that dating website?
I was.
Were you on that dating website at the time that you were dating Mr. Lacasse?
No, I wasn't.
And were you speaking, so I guess if you weren't on it, you weren't speaking to multiple men from the website during the time you were dating Mr. Lacasse. And I'll remind you that you provided your phone in this case, and it was cell-brighted, downloaded.
Objection, Your Honor. Argument approach.
July 18th, 2014. Tallahassee, Florida. Dan Markel pulled into his garage after a morning workout, completely unaware that two strangers had been following his every move. Within seconds, he was shot twice in the head at point-blank range. A neighbor heard the gunshots and watched a light-colored Toyota Prius speed away from the scene. Dan Markel died the next day, leaving behind two young sons and a mystery that would take investigators over a decade to fully unravel. Dan Markel wasn't just anyone. He was a tenured professor at Florida State University, a respected legal scholar who specialized in criminal justice and punishment theory. He graduated magna cum laude from Harvard, earned advanced degrees from prestigious institutions, and built a career on understanding how society holds people accountable for their actions. The tragic irony is unmistakable. His ex-wife, Wendi Adelson, was also a law professor at Florida State. They met on a dating site in 2004 and married 2 years later. Friends described them as visibly affectionate in those early years. But by 2012, the marriage had completely deteriorated. Wendi filed for divorce, and what followed was a custody battle that would ultimately cost Dan his life. The central issue? Wendi wanted to move their two young sons from Tallahassee to South Florida, where her wealthy family owned a successful dental practice. Her parents, Donna and Harvey Adelson, and her brother Charlie, a periodontist who drove a Ferrari with a vanity plate reading Maestro, all lived in the Miami area. Wendi argued she needed to be closer to family support. But Dan Markel refused to be separated from his children. He fought her relocation petition in court, and in 2013, a judge ruled in his favor. Wendi would have to remain in Tallahassee if she wanted to maintain custody. That decision set everything in motion. To understand this case, you need to understand the Adelson family dynamics. Prosecutors would later describe Donna Adelson as an overbearing matriarch who was deeply controlling of her children's lives. She wasn't just involved in Wendi's divorce. She was orchestrating it. Court records showed Donna wrote mediation notes, suggested legal strategies, pushed for restraining orders, and even advised Wendi to pursue 100% custody of the children. And when Wendi was asked under oath about her mother's controlling nature, her response was telling.
I don't think my mom is a controlling person.
Did you say at one time back in 2013 that your mom operates with emotional subterfuge?
I may have said that.
Would you like to refresh your memory?
I can. I honestly don't know what I meant at the time.
But not that she's controlling.
I don't think that's what I meant.
Did Dan Markel have a hard time understanding some of your mom's behaviors?
I don't remember that.
Well, did she think you incapable of driving to South Florida by yourself with the kids? This is back when they were little.
Yeah, I don't think she thought I was incapable, but I was breastfeeding and it was helpful to have someone with me.
So what was her practice to avoid you having to do that?
One of my parents would come with me for the long drive.
So they would rent a car, come up here, ride back with you, and then follow the same procedure to get you home?
They would drive with me if I was down there, back up, and then rent a car to come home.
Did your dad think that was necessary, or was that a mom thing?
No, my dad probably thought it was more necessary.
Okay, and did your dad make a practice of supporting whatever your mom wanted? Is that kind of the general rule?
Yeah.
Donna was obsessed with getting Wendi and the grandchildren back to South Florida. In emails between mother and daughter, Donna suggested that Wendi offered Dan $1 million to agree to the relocation. Donna said she would split the cost with Wendi and Charlie. But Dan Markel wasn't interested in money. He wanted to be a father to his sons. The animosity grew. In 2014, just 4 months before his death, Dan filed a motion in civil court attempting to bar Donna Adelson from having unsupervised visits with his children. He claimed his former mother-in-law was disparaging him to his sons, alleging the boys reported that Grandma says you're stupid. This motion became known as the Grandma motion in court proceedings, and it infuriated the Adelson family. But here's what makes everything suspicious. Prosecutors later discovered that Donna had Dan Markel's vehicle information written in her 2014 planner. His license plate number, his car make and model. Why would she need that information 2 years after the divorce was finalized? And how would she have obtained it? The person who would most likely have that information was Wendi. And speaking of Wendi, there's something investigators discovered about her behavior in the weeks leading up to the execution that raises disturbing questions. She contacted Dan multiple times to confirm his schedule around July 18th. She called to double-check their parenting arrangements, even though those dates had already been agreed upon. Phone records show that on July 6th, 2014, while Wendi was visiting her parents in Miami, she texted Dan asking if he would be in Tallahassee between July 14th and 18th. Dan confirmed he would be. At that exact same time, her brother Charlie's phone pinged near Catherine Magbanua's residence in Miami. Who is Catherine Magbanua? The woman who would become the link between the Adelson family and the hitman. But it gets even more suspicious. Wendi also questioned her ex-boyfriend Jeffrey Lacasse about his travel plans during those same days. Lacasse drove a gray Nissan Sentra, which looked remarkably similar to the gray Nissan Altima the killers rented. Prosecutors believe the Adelson family may have tried to frame him. Years later, Lacasse would testify about something chilling that Wendi told him just days before the slaying. She confided that Charlie had looked into all options to handle the Danny problem, including hiring a hitman, and that it would cost around $15,000. Think about that. Days before Dan Markel was executed, Wendi knew her brother had researched hiring someone to eliminate him. Yet she did nothing to warn Dan. She didn't contact authorities. She simply waited. July 18th, 2014. The morning Dan Markel was shot to death. Let's walk through what happened that day, because the timeline reveals a carefully orchestrated plan. Dan dropped his sons off at preschool, went to the gym, and headed home around 11 a.m. Meanwhile, 2 men from Miami, Sigfrido Garcia and Luis Rivera, had been tracking his movements. They'd been to Tallahassee twice, scouting the area and learning Dan's routine. This wasn't random violence. This was a professional hit. But where was Wendi that morning? She claimed she was home waiting for a technician from Geek Squad to repair her television. That television, she said, had been a divorce present from her brother Charlie. In fact, Wendi joked with the repairman that the TV was cheaper than hiring a hitman. Those exact words. On the morning her ex-husband was being hunted, after the repair appointment, Wendi received a text from her mother at 8:09 a.m. saying Best Buy had called, and they were on their way to help fix the TV. What followed was a flurry of phone calls between Wendi, Donna, Charlie, and Catherine Magbanua. Then came an 18-minute call between Wendi and Charlie, where she claims they discussed whether to repair or replace the broken television. 18 minutes. About a TV. On the morning of a premeditated hit. Here's where it gets even stranger. Phone records reveal Wendi had a calendar entry labeled Fix TV in her phone. But investigators discovered she deleted that entry before law enforcement analyzed her phone later that same day. Why delete a simple repair appointment unless it meant something more? After the murder occurred, Wendi got in her car and drove to meet friends for lunch. But she didn't take the direct route. She drove 7 miles out of her way, bypassing a closer liquor store, and drove directly toward the street where Dan Markel lived. Police had already set up a roadblock because of the active crime scene. Officer testimony confirms Wendi drove right up to that roadblock, contrary to her later claims that she never went near the area. When police located her at a restaurant and brought her in for questioning, her reaction was captured on camera. But investigators weren't convinced by what they saw.
Did Jackie with you?
I just listened to my voicemail.
What'd you hear?
I
Who was
just-
your voicemail?
It's from Lisa Carey, who is my real estate agent, or who I had gone with to find a house. She just said she was driving around town and she heard there was a shooting on Trescott.
Yeah. That's what this is about. I'm sorry you had to hear it that way.
I'm sorry, I didn't know if I should.
It's all right. Just leave it there. Is it still on?
It's right there.
Hey, it's Lisa Carey. It is Friday, and I feel like an idiot doing this, but I just heard that there was a shooting over on Trescott, and I promise I'm not trying to be dramatic or even nosy. I don't know, just checking on you, my friend. I hope all is well. I hope your sweet boys are well, and if there's anything you need, let me know. It just ran a chill down my spine when I heard that there was something going on Trescott. All right, 212-3083. I hope all is well, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.
That's all right. You can stop it. Or does it stop automatically?
It's done.
Okay. Do you have your identification with you? All right, so you never took the last name of Markel?
No.
Adelson. Okay. Wendi with an I. Joe. All right. There was a shooting at your home, or your ex-husband's home, at 2116 Trescott. Okay. Your ex-husband, Daniel, all right, has been taken to the hospital. He's not going to survive.
Oh my God.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I'm about to tremendous party. What happened?
Well, before we get into everything, I have to establish where you were and who you were with and so forth.
Okay.
Okay, and then once we've established all that, I can give you more details.
Okay.
Do you understand why I wanted you to come here before I discuss this?
Oh my God. I'm sorry.
That's okay. No, you have nothing to be sorry about.
I just don't understand. How could this happen?
Can you let me get over this hump, okay? Can we do that first? All right. Can you tell me what time you left your house this morning?
Yeah, I was there. I didn't leave this morning. I didn't leave until noon.
Okay. And
Oh my God. And I tried to drive up Trescott and I saw that it was blocked.
It was blocked at some point. I'm not sure what time it was
And I
blocked.
just thought, oh, there's maybe some trees down or something. Because sometimes
Oh, you're saying as you drove down which one of the side roads?
when I'm going to a friend's party tonight, and it's a oh my God, what am I even talking about? I needed to buy, it's a stock the shelf engagement party, and so I went to buy bourbon.
Okay.
So I went to drive from my place up Trescott to get to ABC Liquor, and it was blocked, so I just turned around. I was on the phone at the time. I wasn't paying a lot of attention.
Right.
So I just turned around and drove up the other way. I just thought, oh, sometimes when I lived there were electrical things
Okay.
that would happen. I left my house around 12:15 because I thought I'll get the bourbon and then I'll get some gas for the car and get super glue for one of the boys' toys. And I was trying to do all I can before meeting my two friends at 1.
Okay, who was at your house this morning?
The only person that was at my house this morning was a guy from Best Buy because my TV was broken and it's under warranty.
Good for you.
Yeah, I figured.
Okay, a guy from Best Buy was at your house to work on your TV?
I have his name and everything at the house if you want it, because the boys broke the TV, so he gave me a choice of fixing it or getting a new one.
What time did he come to the house?
He called me at around 8. He was probably there until around 10.
Okay. Okay. And then you
and then after he left, I kept working on a paper, and I emailed the paper to a librarian at school to work on some of the citations.
Okay.
And I don't think I talked to anyone else, but I was just working for an hour or so from the house. I was going to take a shower, but I didn't. I ran out of time. I did laundry. And then I left the house around noon.
To go to the liquor store and the stuff for the party?
Yeah.
Okay, you went down which road you said?
I went down Trescott.
Okay.
I saw a police car there, and I just thought it was blocked, so I just turned around and drove to, I went down the rest of Centerville, went up Benton, took Benton across, went to ABC Liquors, bought the bourbon.
I'm a little confused. You're up on Centerville Road. What's your purpose of driving down Trescott?
It's usually the shortcut to get to Monroe.
To get to Monroe?
I usually take it as a cut through to get to Thomasville or Monroe.
Okay, all right, so
I don't know why I said Monroe. I was thinking Mosaic, Monroe, Thomasville.
Okay, so when you come down into town on Centerville?
I almost always cut through Trescott.
Trescott and just drive by your old house?
Well, I do it as a way of like coming to terms with a divorce, but yeah, sometimes I drive there. If I'm too sad, I drive around.
Okay.
If the kids aren't home and I know they're not home, I feel better about driving by the house, but yeah, it's shorter and I just usually drive by.
It's shorter than going all the way down to Benton?
All the way down Centerville and around Benton, just a shortcut I always took.
Okay, so you turned around and went back to Centerville, I take it?
Yeah.
Down to Benton and went to the liquor store down there on Thomasville?
Yeah.
The one at Benton Road?
ABC Liquors, it's at Benton. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, did you make a purchase there?
Yeah.
And that was sometime after 12?
Probably 12:30.
Okay. All right.
And I talked to a guy there because I don't really buy much alcohol, and so they wanted bourbon, and I asked the guy, we had a whole conversation about bourbon and my eyes, like...
Your eyes?
He just said, your eyes are really blue, and...
You have contacts?
I do.
Okay.
But I just remembered it.
Right.
So I bought the bourbon and got some gas on Thomasville and met my friends at Mosaic.
Which gas station did you go to on Thomasville?
The one that's, I always forget the name, but the one that's close to the cross street. It's right next to the Goodwill.
Okay.
If you're heading north on Thomasville. If you're heading north on Thomasville, it's on your right.
Okay, just past the Goodwill
Just
place?
past the Goodwill. It's close to the intersection there.
Okay. All right, and then from that point, you went straight to the...
Went to Mosaic.
Mosaic restaurant?
And met friends there. I used to have kind of a steady Friday meeting, and I hadn't seen my two friends in a while. And so we had made plans to meet up.
What time did you get to Mosaic?
About 1. I was a little late. We were supposed to meet at 1, and I got there a few minutes after.
Okay. All right. I know it's cold in here. Okay.
I think that's not why.
Okay. I know it's part of it, but do you know anybody that would have a beef against your ex-husband?
He's oh God.
I hate to ask it now, but I have to do it now. You understand, right?
I understand. I mean, he had friends. He always meant well, but he would sometimes rub people the wrong way.
Okay.
But not anyone who would do something like this.
Anybody that he owes money to?
No, he owes money to me.
He owes money to you?
But
Okay.
not me.
Okay. All right. All right.
Oh my God, we're poor kids. I know a lot of people didn't really love him, but I don't know anyone who would do something like this.
Well, we're still trying to determine, what happened and how it happened.
But he wouldn't do this to himself.
Okay.
He was a very positive person.
Okay. No one that you know of or that you've spoken to recently that he's had some type of problem with or that he was concerned about?
No one that he was concerned about. I mean, we've been separated for 2 years, so I don't know,
Right.
If he had something going on, I wouldn't know about it, but, I mean, I had lost my voice earlier this week, and so we had put off this conversation about our son's school and where he was going to go, and he, I know a lot of people didn't love him, but not anyone who would, hate him.
Okay.
He meant well. Everyone that knew him
Okay.
knows that he means well, but he can be a little, argumentative.
Right.
But not, he didn't owe anyone money. He didn't do anything except work and take care of his kids. He wasn't involved in anything bad.
Okay.
I can't believe this is happening.
I know. And he was a professor at the law school, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. And your divorce has been 2 years or the total separation, I'm assuming?
Total separation's been 2 years. Our divorce was finalized last summer around this time.
Okay.
He wouldn't do this to himself. He has a girlfriend now.
You know his...
When officers told her Dan had been shot and wouldn't survive, she broke down. But some investigators felt her emotional display seemed performative. She repeatedly said she was scared, that she didn't understand how this could happen. Yet she also made a curious statement. She said she was afraid someone might have done this, not because they hate Danny, but because they thought this was good somehow. As if she already knew the motive wasn't personal hatred, but something else entirely. And here's the most shocking detail. When Wendi drove past the crime scene roadblock, she never attempted to contact Dan to check on his safety or the safety of their children. Instead, she went to an ABC liquor store, bought Boo Light bourbon for her lunch gathering, and continued with her plans. What mother, upon seeing police activity on the street where her children's father lives, wouldn't immediately try to reach him? For 2 years, the case seemed to go cold. Then, in 2016, investigators made their first arrests. Luis Rivera, the driver of the Prius, was facing a life sentence on unrelated racketeering charges as a former Latin Kings gang leader. He agreed to a plea deal, confessing to second-degree involvement and identifying Sigfrido Garcia as the triggerman. Rivera revealed they were paid $35,000 for the job and that the motive involved a custody dispute. Sigfrido Garcia was arrested and charged with first-degree slaying. But what made Garcia especially significant was his connection to the Adelson family. The mother of his children was Catherine Magbanua, and she had been dating Charlie Adelson. Even more suspicious, Magbanua was on the payroll at the Adelson Institute, the family dental practice. Despite no clear evidence she performed any actual work there. The family had even helped pay for her breast augmentation surgery. Catherine Magbanua was arrested in October 2016. Her first trial ended in a hung jury, but a retrial in 2022 resulted in conviction. She was sentenced to life in prison without parole plus 2 consecutive 30-year sentences. During that trial, evidence showed Magbanua received large amounts of money from the Adelson family right after the slaying. Phone records reveal Garcia called Magbanua immediately after leaving the crime scene, saying, "Everything is done. Make sure you have my money. But investigators still needed to connect the masterminds. In April 2016, the FBI conducted an undercover sting operation known as the Bump. An agent approached Donna Adelson on a Miami street, posing as the brother of Luis Rivera. He handed her a flyer about Dan Markel's demise and demanded $5,000, saying Rivera had helped her family with this problem you had up north and now needed support. Donna's response? I don't know what you're talking about. But her actions afterward told a different story. She immediately contacted her son Charlie, and investigators placed wiretaps on both their phones. What those wiretaps captured would ultimately seal their fates. Recorded conversations revealed Donna and Charlie discussing the investigation, worrying about being caught, and even researching countries without extradition treaties. Charlie himself would later make statements about his sister that prosecutors found deeply significant.
Did you have any input on the decision to change the boys' names from Markel to Adelson?
Absolutely not.
Do you and Donna have to protect Wendi?
No.
Does Wendi appreciate everything you and Donna do for her?
You got to ask her. I mean, she's my sister. I love her. I try to give her my best advice I can. And if I care about her, and I give her my advice, whether she takes it or not, is up to her. She's a grown woman.
Let me ask it another way. Do you feel, or isn't it true that you don't feel that Wendi appreciates everything you and Donna do for her?
My sister had no idea what I've been through in the last, God knows how many years, and what I wake up worrying, am I going to get killed? Am I going to get arrested? And she knows none of it. She's just going around her life, and I had somewhat of an innate anger towards her. Mm-hmm. You know, probably unjust because she didn't know what happened. But yeah, I was upset.
And weren't you saying on the wire that she doesn't appreciate what you and Donna have done for her?
I don't know if I said that she doesn't appreciate what I've done for her, because I never did anything for her.
Okay, so that was my next question. What have you done for her? Nothing?
Other than give her advice and care about her, be a big brother that loves her.
Would you say Wendy's a little bit spoiled?
In some regards, I mean, she gets a lot of help, for sure.
Is she a little less savvy about how the world works than you are?
I don't know. I mean, you got to ask her.
Could you trust Wendi with a secret that could ruin your life?
It's not a secret. It's something that would get me killed, so I didn't want to tell her.
Can we agree that she obviously knew something about this crime?
She found out when she came to court. I never told her anything.
I'm talking about the murder of Dan Markel. She knew something, right? I mean, it's not a coincidence she went to the crime scene, is it?
You're talking about the route that she took that day?
I'm talking about her pulling up to the crime scene tape.
She never went to the crime scene. She was going to buy a bottle of liquor that, coincidentally, the person sent her a stock the bar party for buy a bottle of bullet bourbon that she was going to pick up. She wasn't driving to a crime scene, and I think she made that clear too. Nobody knew a murder was taking place.
She pulled up to the crime scene tape, Dr. Adelson.
She didn't pull up to the crime scene tape. She was driving down the street and then had to make a U-turn. It was blocked off. But she wasn't going to.
She couldn't help herself.
Nobody knew a murder was going to take place.
She exposed you all to some degree by those actions, didn't she?
No, not at all.
And then she threw you under the bus in her interview, didn't she?
Nobody knew a murder was going to take place.
She knew her husband had just been shot, and they were asking her who would want him dead, and she said your name. Are you mad about that?
No, she said a lot of people's names.
Well, she said yours in the first 25 pages of a 5-hour interview. Isn't that true?
I wasn't there for the interview.
But you've reviewed it in preparation for your trial, haven't you?
I actually don't know if I've seen her interview.
There was a lot of questions of you about, didn't you do this murder with Wendi? Doesn't the state think you did this murder with Wendi? Are you familiar with your charges in this case?
Yes, I'm very familiar with my charges.
Right. And who are you alleged to have done this murder with?
I'm alleged to have done this murder with my sister, my mom, and my dad.
Would it refresh your recollection to review a copy of The indictment in this case.
I'm a slow reader, but I could read it if you want.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Okay.
And this is the official charging document in your case, Dr. Adelson. What does it say in reference to who you are alleged to have committed the murder with?
This is, what day is this? 2022. Oh, they think I did a murder with Katie.
Catherine McBanois.
Yes.
Anybody else?
Give me a minute, I'll read. They got Luis Rivera in here. They got Sigfredo Garcia.
As being alleged to have committed the murder with you?
Did I read it too quick?
Take your time. Should just be at the very top of each charge. On or about July 18th, 2014, did unlawfully.
Okay. Yeah, Katie. Captain
Okay.
McBanois.
Are you mad that Wendi hasn't been charged and you have?
No, I'm mad that I got charged for a crime that I didn't commit.
Do you have any innate anger with Wendi over that fact?
No, not at all.
Are you pissed that she told all that stuff to Jeff Lacoste?
I don't think she said that to Jeff, but I wasn't there.
How did Lacoste know about the celebration dinner?
That we went out to dinner. She got sick, so she may have told someone that she threw up.
And then what, he just added the part about you referring to it as a celebration?
I never referred to it as a celebration dinner. I picked my sister up. I said, where do you want to go to eat? She said she wanted pizza or sushi. I said, I know a great sushi place. We went there. We didn't have reservations. We ended up sitting at the bar for an hour waiting for our table. She had 2 drinks and got sick.
She vomited on the dinner table. Or at the dinner table.
Yeah, she got her to the bathroom. But yeah, she doesn't drink alcohol. So those 2 drinks, and I think on an empty stomach, I think she got really sick. But there was no celebration dinner. It was the first time that she actually really left the house since she got back from Tallahassee. She was devastated.
Did you say something to her about the murder of Dan Markel right before she vomited?
Absolutely not.
Do you remember what you said right before she vomited?
She was I think she said, I don't feel well. And I say, oh no. And then she threw up.
Before that?
No, I think I said, oh no. And then she threw up.
Before she announced that she was going to be ill.
Right.
Do you remember what the conversation was?
Just how's the food? How's your I mean, we were probably about halfway through dinner. If you look at the timetable, we weren't there long.
Why did you brag to Jeffrey Lacoste about your connection to the Cuban criminal element?
Never said that to Jeff Lacoste.
So he's making that up?
If he said it, I never said it.
Well, you were in here when he said it, weren't you?
I heard him say it, yeah. But I never said that to him.
On one of these calls, and it's in the context of talking about Dave and Wendy's relationship with Dave, you tell your mom that you've already gone above and beyond for Wendi. Was that a reference to having her ex murdered?
No, that's me getting tired of this Dave stuff. I mean, Dave's a great guy. I mean, everyone who meets him likes him. He's not only super successful, but he's very low-key, like T-shirts and jeans kind of guy. And he loved my sister's kids. I mean, if you listen to The Wire, the point I was making is not how successful he is. The point I was making is that my nephews farted on him, and he thought it was funny and didn't bother him. And he also has 3 young kids, the same ages as my sister's 2 young kids. They actually met in line when my sister was registering the kids for school, and they've been friends for years. So I thought it was a great opportunity for my sister to have a great guy in her life. And I was getting sick and tired of of Dave calls, and the wires started in April. My sister's birthday's in April, Dave's birthday's in April, so you got a ton of Dave chatter on this case. But believe me, I'd go crazy if I was talking about Dave like this all year long.
So that's a no. You did not reference having her ex murdered
Absolutely not.
when you said
No.
you've already gone above and beyond.
No, that was
when
me
you-
getting sick of dealing with the Dave stuff. As great as the guy as he is, I was still getting sick of it.
When the $1 million offer was conceived, do you recall whose idea that was?
My parents.
Why was the relocation worth $1 million?
Well, it was actually I was going to pay a third, so I only looked at it as that way. Why was it worth it?
That's the question.
Because it was going to help my sister out, and it was going to give her a good opportunity for a good job down here, and she was going to be around family, and family's important, so that's why.
Isn't it true that financially you came out ahead on this deal as opposed to if you had coughed up the third of the $1 million offer?
How in the world did I come up ahead? This is the craziest thing.
Financially, you paid $138,000, then you paid $2,000 a month plus the $1,000 payroll amount. You're still about over $100,000 ahead financially than if you had coughed up the $333K.
No, I would have been better off paying. And first of all, I never paid for murders. This is a crazy question, but paying $3,000 a month for life is not anything anybody wants to do.
I didn't say anything about paying for a murder. I said you paid $138,000, which you did.
I got extorted for $330,000.
On those wiretaps, the Adelson family spoke in code. They referred to the slaying as Harvey's birthday present. When the hitmen failed on their first trip to Tallahassee in June 2014, Charlie texted Donna saying, "I'm still working on the birthday present." Donna responded with confidence he would complete it. The birthday present wasn't a gift. It was the elimination of Dan Markel. In November 2023, Charlie Adelson was finally arrested and charged with first-degree slaying, conspiracy, and solicitation. His trial revealed the full scope of the conspiracy. Catherine Magbanua testified for the prosecution, admitting for the first time under oath that Charlie orchestrated the entire plot. She said Charlie painted Dan as a terrible man who was tormenting his family with the custody dispute. Charlie took the stand in his own defense, denying everything. But the evidence was overwhelming. The jury convicted him on all counts. He was sentenced to life in prison plus an additional 30 years each for conspiracy and solicitation. Days after Charlie's conviction, his mother Donna was arrested at Miami International Airport. She and her husband Harvey had obtained rushed visas and booked one-way tickets to Vietnam, a country with no extradition treaty with the United States. Prosecutors argued she was attempting to flee justice. Donna's trial began in August 2025 after significant delays. The evidence presented was devastating. Financial records showed she had written checks to Catherine Magbanua around the time of the execution. Wiretap recordings captured her discussing the investigation and mentioning possible escape plans. Text messages between Donna and Wendi revealed Donna writing, "Your brother protected you for years. Now you're not guilty. Your lawyer took very good care of you." Perhaps the most anticipated moment came when Wendi took the stand in her own mother's trial.
Your name and spell your name.
Wendi Adelson, WendiAdelson.
Miss Adelson, where are you from?
I'm from Coral Springs, Florida.
And you live in another state now currently, right?
I do, yes ma'am.
All right. How are you employed?
I'm an immigration attorney
How long have you been an attorney?
since 2006.
And you're here pursuant to a state subpoena, is that correct?
Yes,
And that subpoena confers a type of immunity on you. Do you understand that?
I do.
Okay. Which means that nothing you say here in court pursuant to that subpoena can be used against you at a later time. Do you understand that?
I do.
Okay, but it doesn't necessarily mean you could never be prosecuted. It just means that what you say in court could not be used in any future prosecution. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right. I want to ask you about your ex-husband, Daniel Markel. Is that a fair and accurate photo of Mr. Markel?
Yes.
When did you meet him?
We met originally online. It must have been the fall of my first year of law school, so 2003.
Okay. And when did you marry Mr. Markel?
We married in February of 2006.
Were you living in Tallahassee at some point as a married couple?
Yes.
When did you move to Tallahassee?
We moved to Tallahassee my final year of law school, so that would have been in the summer of 2005. And we were here from 2005 till 2006. We spent a year at the University of Miami from 2006 to 2007, and then came back to Tallahassee from 2007 until 2014.
All right. And during the time that you were living here in Tallahassee, did you live over on Trescott Drive?
For some of the time that we lived here, yes.
And when your first child was born, were you residing at the Trescott Drive residence at that point?
Yes.
Okay. I think I have a photo of that here. Is that the Trescott Drive residence?
Yes.
And how many children did you have with Mr. Markel?
We have 2 children.
What were their ages at the time of their father's death?
It was 10 days before my older son's 5th birthday, so he was 4 turning 5, and our younger son was 3.5. The boys are 14 months apart.
And did there come a time when you and Mr. Markel separated?
Yes.
When was the separation?
It was in the fall of 2012.
Whose decision was it to separate?
It was mine.
How did your ex take that news?
Well, we talked about it many times before it actually happened, but when the separation became official, he was very upset.
And even though there were problems and issues and discussions, it was a surprise to him when it actually happened, right?
It was.
Okay. And was part of the reason for the separation your differing views on how to raise the kids pursuant to the Jewish faith?
I'd say it was a very small part, but it was a part.
Did you consider your ex to be a religious zealot?
No, I didn't think he was a religious zealot, but I did think he was using religion as a way of controlling me.
Wendi testified with immunity, meaning nothing she said could be used against her in a future prosecution. She repeatedly denied any involvement or knowledge of the plot. But prosecutors pointed out troubling inconsistencies. Wendi admitted her mother had pressured her to testify in ways that would help Charlie during his trial. Donna had been upset that Wendi's testimony hadn't been more supportive of her brother. When asked directly if she was involved in the plot to eliminate her ex-husband, Wendi answered no. When asked if she provided any information, even unknowingly, that could have assisted the people who killed him, she said, "I don't think so. I didn't provide any information." But when pressed specifically about her role, Wendi made statements that many found difficult to believe.
Were you in any way involved in the plot to kill your ex-husband?
No.
Did you maybe know it was going to happen but not know the details?
I did not know it was going to happen, and I did not know any details.
Did you provide any information, even unknowingly in hindsight, that you think could have been used to assist the murderers?
I don't think so. I didn't provide any information.
What information do you have regarding your mother's involvement in the plot to kill your ex-husband?
I don't have information.
But you do admit that your brother said he looked into hiring a hitman to kill Dan Markel.
I don't. I admit that my brother made a tasteless joke repeatedly about buying me a TV because it was cheaper than hiring a hitman.
But then someone did hire a hitman who did kill Dan Markel, right?
Yes, that happened.
Was part of the plot to kill your ex for you to have plausible deniability or To know very little about it.
I was not involved in any plot to kill Danny.
Were you shielded from the plot because, I don't know, you couldn't be trusted to keep a secret?
I was not involved in any plot to kill Danny.
Why did you tell investigator Isom in your law enforcement interview that you were worried the police, or you were worried, I guess, in the police car on the way to be interviewed, that you might be considered a suspect?
Because I couldn't think of anything bad going on in his life other than the divorce. And frequently the ex-wife is a suspect.
Were you treated as a suspect?
I was not.
But you mentioned 9 times in your law enforcement interview being a suspect, didn't you?
I did, yes.
Also testifying was Wendy's estranged older brother, Robert Adelson, who painted Donna as a controlling, manipulative mother who dominated every aspect of her children's lives. The prosecution also called Wendy's ex-boyfriend, Jeffrey Lacasse, who testified about the chilling conversation where Wendi revealed Charlie had researched hiring someone to handle the situation. On September 4th, 2025, after just 3 hours of deliberation, the jury found Donna Adelson guilty on all charges: first-degree slaying, conspiracy, and solicitation. When the verdict was read, Donna audibly gasped, "Oh my God," and burst into sobs. She was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. 5 people are now convicted: the 2 hitmen, the intermediary, the brother, the mother. But what about Wendi? Court testimony revealed the depth of Wendy's hostility toward her ex-husband. During one particularly revealing moment, she was confronted about messages she sent.
Did you refer to him as an STD?
I don't remember saying that.
Tab 5.
It looks like I made that analogy.
Danny is an STD. One wrong mistake, marrying him, and this will never go away. Is that what you said?
I did.
And did you share that kind of sentiment with your mother?
I don't remember ever saying that, so I don't think it's something I said very often.
And this was said in an email on February 26th of 2013, correct?
It was.
Approximately 17 months before the murder?
Yes, I don't think it was an email, though. It looks like it was sort of an iMessage.
Okay. Did you ever refer to your ex-husband as the Dark Lord?
I don't remember saying that, but I certainly might have.
Did you refer to your ex-husband as Gibbers?
I did.
What is the meaning of Gibbers?
Gibbers was just a silly name that a friend helped me come up with to basically make him feel less scary. It was nonsense.
Did it reference Jew in boots?
That I don't remember.
It wasn't a friendly name, right?
It was a silly name.
Did you ever say that you hated Dan Markel?
I don't remember saying it, but I certainly could have.
Tab 31, please, to refresh your memory.
I said that I hate him in this moment.
Okay, and did you say in that email, that same email, quote, I hate my children's dad?
I did.
And do you agree that email was sent approximately 15 months before Mr. Markel was murdered?
It was in April of 2013.
In text messages during their contentious relationship, when he called Dan Markel an STD, writing, "Danny is an STD. One wrong mistake marrying him, and this will never go away." She also referred to him as an emotional terrorist and Dark Lord. This wasn't just frustration. This was deep, personal animosity. Prosecutors have officially named Wendi Adelson as an unindicted co-conspirator. That designation means they believe she was part of the conspiracy but haven't charged her. Why? The answer is complicated and reveals the challenging reality of the American justice system. First, there's the immunity issue. Wendi has testified with immunity at multiple trials. Anything she said under oath cannot be used against her in a future prosecution. This creates a legal paradox. Prosecutors need her testimony to convict others, but granting immunity protects her from charges. Second, while circumstantial evidence against Wendi is substantial, prosecutors haven't found the definitive smoking gun. There are no recorded conversations where she explicitly discusses the plan. There are no financial transactions directly linking her to payments. There are no text messages where she coordinates the timing. What they do have is a pattern of suspicious behavior. They have her confirming Dan's schedule in the days before the execution. They have her 18-minute phone call with Charlie on the morning of the slaying. They have her driving past the crime scene. They have her knowledge, admitted to her ex-boyfriend, that Charlie had researched hiring someone. They have her mother's text messages suggesting Wendi was protected by the family. They have her bitter hostility toward Dan documented in writing. But is it enough to prove beyond reasonable doubt that she knowingly participated in planning his demise? Legal analysts following this case point out that conviction requires proving Wendi knew about the specific plan and took actions to further it. Prosecutors would need to show she wasn't just aware her family hated Dan, or even that Charlie had made dark jokes. They would need to prove she knew a hired hit was actually going to happen and that she provided information or assistance to make it succeed. The defense argument would be powerful. Wendi was a victim of her controlling family. They orchestrated everything without her knowledge. Her confirming Dan's schedule was innocent co-parenting communication. Her drive past the crime scene was coincidental. Her 18-minute call with Charlie really was about a broken television. Her knowledge about Charlie's research was just dark humor she didn't take seriously. State Attorney Jack Campbell, after Donna's conviction, addressed the public curiosity about Wendi. He said, "I understand everyone's curiosity and interest, but for now, we're going to let our team rest." He indicated decisions would be made in the coming weeks. But weeks have passed, and no charges have materialized. Legal analyst Joe Bodiford explained the prosecutor's dilemma. We may not have all the evidence on Wendi. Is justice going to be served by us doing this? Just from a trial guy standpoint, if you got 5 and go for 6 and you don't get 6, you've still got 5. In other words, prosecutors may be reluctant to charge Wendi if they're not confident in securing a conviction. Losing that trial could be seen as a failure and might damage the credibility of the entire investigation. But let's examine the evidence that makes so many people believe Wendi's involvement goes deeper than she claims. The hitmen had a deadline. Luis Rivera testified the job had to be completed on or before July 18th, 2014. Dan was planning to travel out of town on July 19th. Very few people knew his travel schedule. His ex-wife would be one of them. And coincidentally, the execution happened on the very last possible day of that deadline. Wendi wrote a book years before the slaying titled, "This Is Our Story." Prosecutors argued it was autobiographical, featuring a woman who felt trapped in Tallahassee and desperate to escape. The defense claimed it was pure fiction, but the parallels to Wendi's real life are striking. The book became a point of contention at Donna's trial. Then there's what happened after Dan's death. Wendi moved to Miami within days, finally achieving her goal of relocating to South Florida. Shortly afterward, she changed her son's last names from Markel to Adelson, claiming it was for their safety. But Dan's parents, Ruth and Phil Markel, were devastated. Wendi also cut off all contact between the grandparents and their grandsons. The Markel family lost both their son and access to their grandchildren. Wendi's ex-boyfriend Lacasse also revealed something disturbing. He said Wendi told him that after the slaying, Charlie took her out for a celebration dinner. Wendi denied saying this, but Lacasse was consistent in his account across multiple interviews with law enforcement. And there's the matter of powerful connections. Wendi's godfather is Peter Weinstein, the former chief judge of Broward County and a longtime state senator. His son, Michael Weinstein, was Charlie's lifelong friend and lawyer, providing legal advice to the family after the FBI sting operation. These connections have led some to speculate whether influence has played a role in Wendi avoiding charges. At the center of this entire tragedy are two young boys who lost their father to violence and have been raised by the very family that prosecutors say orchestrated his demise. These children have grown up surrounded by people convicted of arranging their father's execution. Their grandmother is serving life in prison. Their uncle is serving life in prison. And their mother, who has testified under immunity, maintains she had no knowledge of any plot. What psychological impact does this have on children? They're being told by the world that their family eliminated their father, but likely being told by their family that it's all a lie, that they're victims of an unjust system. The cognitive dissonance must be unbearable. Dan Markel's parents have been vocal about their pain. After Donna's sentencing, they released a statement responding to comments made by Harvey and Donna at the sentencing hearing. The Markels have fought tirelessly for justice, establishing the organization Justice for Dan to keep pressure on the legal system and honor their son's memory. In 2024, on the 10th anniversary of Dan's death, they announced the Dan Markel Award for Criminal Law Theory, continuing his legacy of legal scholarship. So we return to the central question. If prosecutors believe Wendi Adelson was involved, why hasn't she been charged? Theory 1. Prosecutors are still building the case. They may be waiting for one of the convicted co-conspirators to flip. If Donna, facing life in prison, decided to tell the complete truth about her daughter's role, that testimony could be the breakthrough needed. If Charlie, already serving life, decided cooperating could somehow benefit him, he might provide information about Wendi. If Catherine Magbanua, who testified against Charlie and Donna, had more information about Wendi's involvement, prosecutors might be in negotiations. Theory 2. The immunity granted to Wendi for her testimony has created an insurmountable legal barrier. Prosecutors may have decided that charging her would be futile because the immunity protects her from anything she said in those testimonies being used against her. Building a case without that testimony may be impossible. Theory 3. Prosecutors genuinely don't believe they have sufficient evidence to prove beyond reasonable doubt that Wendi knowingly participated in the conspiracy. While circumstantial evidence creates strong suspicion, it may not meet the legal threshold for conviction. Prosecutors have professional reputations and don't want to bring charges they can't win. Theory 4. Political or social pressure. The Adelson family had considerable wealth and connections. Some have speculated that influence has played a role in Wendi's treatment. However, there's no concrete evidence to support this theory, and it could simply be that the legal hurdles are genuinely too high. Whatever the reason, the reality is this. Wendi Adelson walks free while everyone else involved in the conspiracy that took Dan Markel's life is behind bars. She continues living in South Florida with her sons, who will grow up never knowing their father except through old photographs and stories. The circumstantial evidence is damning. Her motive was clear. She desperately wanted to move to South Florida and was blocked only by Dan's refusal. Her opportunity was evident. She had access to Dan's schedule, routines, and personal information. Her behavior before and after the slaying raises serious questions, confirming his travel dates, her presence near the crime scene, her deletion of phone calendar entries, her immediate relocation after his death. But in American criminal justice, suspicion isn't enough. Circumstantial evidence isn't enough. Prosecutors must prove guilt beyond reasonable doubt. And that standard, designed to protect the innocent, may also be protecting someone who helped orchestrate the elimination of her children's father. This case has gripped the nation for over a decade because it represents something we find deeply disturbing. The idea that someone could eliminate another person to solve a custody dispute. The idea that wealth and family connections might shield conspirators from justice. The idea that a mother could be involved in violence against her children's father and then raise those children as if nothing happened. 5 people are convicted. 5 people are serving life sentences or long prison terms. But for many following this case, justice won't truly be served until every person involved in planning Dan Markel's demise is held accountable. The investigation remains active. The state attorney's office has indicated they will make decisions in the coming weeks and months about any additional charges. Whether that means Wendi Adelson will finally face prosecution, or whether she will remain the untouchable figure at the center of this conspiracy, only time will tell. What we know for certain is this: Dan Markel was a good man, a devoted father, and a brilliant legal scholar who dedicated his career to understanding how society delivers justice. That he became a victim of the very system he studied is a tragedy that continues to haunt everyone who knew him. And we know that somewhere in South Florida, 2 boys are growing up without their father, surrounded by a family that prosecutors say orchestrated his execution, being told a version of events that may never align with the truth. The question remains, did Wendi Adelson play a role in planning her ex-husband's demise, or was she simply a woman caught in the middle of her family's actions? The evidence suggests a troubling answer. But until prosecutors make their move, if they ever do, we're left with suspicions, patterns, and a case that shows how complicated the pursuit of justice can truly be. This is Dark Trail Files, where we follow the evidence, ask the difficult questions, and refuse to accept easy answers. If you believe in justice, if you believe that every victim deserves accountability, then stay with us. Subscribe, hit that notification bell, and join us as we continue following this case and others like it. Because truth matters, justice matters, and Dan Markel's story matters. Until next time, keep seeking the truth.